Okay, first up we have Committee of the Whole closed meeting.
Moved by Deputy Mayor Boehm, seconded by Councillor George, that Council resolve itself into the Committee of the Whole closed meeting to consider the following items. A, litigation or potential litigation, including matters before administrative tribunals affecting municipality or local board, and advice that is subject to solicitor-client privilege, including communications necessary for that purpose, 48A Point St. Mark Drive. B, litigation or potential litigation, including matters before administrative tribunals affecting the municipality or local board, and advice that is subject to solicitor-client privilege, including communications necessary for that purpose, Homestead Land Holdings Limited, 5157 Queen Street, 18 Queen Street, and 282 Ontario Street. And C, litigation or potential litigation, including matters before administrative tribunals affecting the municipality or local board, and advice that is subject to solicitor-client privilege, including communications necessary for that purpose, 1102, 1106, and 1110 King Street West, Elevator Bay.
Please vote. And that carries. Well, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Sego ani buju wacheya kwe kwe. As the mayor of the city of Kingston, I offer these words in the spirit of this gathering. Let us bring our good minds and hearts together as one to honor and celebrate these traditional lands as a gathering place of the original peoples and their ancestors who were entrusted to care for Mother Earth since time immemorial. It is with deep humility that we acknowledge and offer our gratitude for their contributions to this community, having respect for all as we share the space now and walk side by side into the future. So we were just meeting in Committee of the Whole closed meeting. We discussed several issues, one with respect to 48A Point St. Mark Drive, one with respect to 5157 Queen Street, 18 Queen Street, and 282 Ontario Street, and then several properties at Elevator Bay. So I will ask for a motion to rise without reporting, please.
Moved by Deputy Mayor Boehm, seconded by Councillor George, that Council rise from the Committee of the Whole closed meeting without reporting.
Please vote.
One more to vote, please.
And that carries. There are no addeds tonight. Are there any disclosures of potential pecuniary interest? Councillor Camden.
Thank you, and through you, I, Adam Camden, of the Council of the Corporation of the City of Kingston, declare my pecuniary interest in the matter of in-camera item number 6, as I am the owner of the brokerage that's selling units and also have purchased units in the building.
Okay, thank you. Seeing no other disclosures, we will move on. We do not have any presentations this evening, but we do have one delegation. Ken Thompson, Bid Committee Chair, and Rob Kawamoto, Executive Director of Tourism Kingston, will speak to Council with respect to Clause 1 of Report Number 13 from the CAO with respect to the 2020 Brier Canadian Men's Curling Championship Partnership. And just a reminder to our delegation that you have 5 minutes.
Sorry about that. Thank you very much, Mayor Patterson, and thank you, City Council, for this opportunity. My name is Ken Thompson. I'm the chairman of the bid committee for the Kingston 2020 Brier. I'd like to introduce at this time Other members of the bid committee, Brooke Glenzer, who is a sports development officer with Tourism Kingston, and Linda Lott, who is president of Greater Kingston Curling. And I'd like to mention that we're working very close with city staff, with Tourism Kingston, Kingston Accommodation Partners, the folks at K-Rock Center, Downtown Kingston BIA, the Chamber of Commerce, and of course with Greater Kingston Curling. Kingston has been the host of Canadian Curling Championships in the past. In 1957, we hosted the McDonald Brier. It was played at the Memorial Center. Sidebar, if you'd like to see a great movie about that event in 1957, you Google 1957 McDonald Brier Kingston, and there's a 30-minute film that's very interesting. In February 2013, we hosted a very successful Scotties Tournament of Hearts, the Canadian Women's Curling Championship, which was played at the K-Rock Center. And just last November, we hosted the 2017 Travelers Curling Club Championship, which was played at the Cataraqui Golf and Country Club. That involved 14 men's teams and 14 women's teams from every province and territory in Canada. And the 2020 Brier, we sure hope we can get it here. We're going to be doing a lot of hard work to win the honor to host this event. Curling started in Kingston a long time ago. The Kingston Curling Club was established in 1820. It is the second oldest curling club in the country. It is the second oldest sports club in the country. Royal Montreal is the only one that's older. And arguably, the Royal Kingston, it became the Royal Kingston Club in 1993, is the second oldest sports club in all of North America. GKC, or Greater Kingston Curling, is the organization of 5 curling teams in the area that was formed to grow and improve the sport of curling, and is part of the legacy of the Scotties, 2013 Scotties. A little bit about the Brier. The first Brier was held in 1927. The Brier is the annual Canadian Men's Curling Championship. It is most famous and most prestigious annual curling championship in the world. In 2020, there will be 16 teams competing. These are champions from every province and territory in the country. Ontario gets 2 entries, Ontario and Northern Ontario. The winner of the previous Brier will also be competing. And the winner becomes Team Canada and will represent Canada in the World Curling Championship, and then be invited back to the subsequent Brier. And you can see the Brier moves around Canada, and we're working very hard to bring this iconic Canadian curling or sports championship to Kingston in 2020. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ken. Your Worship, City Council, all members of the gallery, especially some of our curling community are here this evening. And of course, our chair with Tourism Kingston, Murray Matheson, is also here to listen to our delegation this evening. So I know we only have 5 minutes, so I will be quick. So pardon me if I'm going quickly here, but that's what I need to do. Benefits of hosting. So over the 9-day period, TSN and RDS will be broadcasting French and English right across Canada over this time. So Kingston's going to have a lot of interest and a lot of ears and eyes on Kingston over this time period. One of the key things to note is the 130,000 spectators, including all the participants that are going to be coming to this event, to the Kingston area, and bringing in roughly about $11 to $15 million in economic impact to the city. One of the key elements for the putting the bid together are the 3 different components of the bid and the areas that we need to focus on to submit. And it's community involvement, which is bringing in a lot of the volunteers and rallying the community with the deposit program, for example, that you've seen so far that's been promoted and supported by the city and, of course, by our mayor. Thank you very much for that. There's different areas as well as cost controls and athlete services, which is a very important element on how to run this event here in the city. And of course, revenue generation, which is the main reason why we're here tonight, is to talk about that piece, which is 50% of the bid submission and how important that is.
30 seconds.
The city funding request is an investment of $200,000, $100,000 in cash, $100,000 in in-kind services broken into facilities, $65,000 and $40,000 in transit fees. $200,000 has already been contributed by Tourism Kingston and accommodation partners, so we're asking the city to invest with us to put together a total potential bid number of $400,000. We'll also be asking the province for supporting dollars as well. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Are there any questions from council? Councillor Neal.
Yes, very quickly. I think I heard somewhere in a news or read it in the news, you're looking for pre-sales to show the interest in the community. Are those pledges or actual purchase of tickets?
What the deposit to buy program is basically a down payment of $50 towards the purchase of a full event ticket package. This happened. St. John's, Newfoundland has a small arena, bigger than ours. To get the Briar, which they held last year, they sold 2,300 of these $50 deposits. 82% of the people that put down $50 bought a full week's package. So basically, the arena was 40% sold out when they got the Briar bid. That whole deposit to buy program is a bit of a gamble. If we don't sell very many, then Curling Canada is going to say, well, that Kingstonians businesses don't want the event that badly. So we are very actively revving up our marketing program to maximize the number that we sell. And of course, our goal for 2020 is 2,020.
So you want to sign up counselors? Thank you very much.
I've got mine.
Are there
Rob.
any other questions? Councillor Turner.
Thank you for your presentation. Could you just explain a little, in a little more detail about how we would sign up? Is it online, and would it include the whole week, or could you buy a one-day package for the $50?
Yeah, the easiest way to do it is go to the K-Rock box office. It takes like 2 minutes. You can also go online through Rogers K-Rock Center and do it that way, or you can go to Ticketmaster and go through Ticketmaster to buy the tickets. And it's stipulated by Curling Canada, which is the governing body of curling in Canada, that the $50 will go only towards a full event package.
Okay, thank you very much.
Okay, seeing no other questions, thank you very much.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. Okay, so moving on this evening, we have no briefings. Are there any petitions to present? Okay, seeing none, we do have a couple of other motions. First, a motion of congratulations, moved by Mayor Patterson, seconded by Deputy Mayor Bohm, that the congratulations of Kingston City Council be extended to the Kingston Historical Society. Established in 1893, the Kingston Historical Society has played an important leadership role in the identification, protection, promotion, and celebration of Kingston history and heritage. It has also operated the Murney Tower Museum National Historic Site since 1925. Congratulations to the Kingston Historical Society on its 125th anniversary. And one motion of condolence, moved by Mayor Patterson, seconded by Deputy Mayor Bohm, that the sincere condolences of Kingston City Council be extended to the Muirhead family on the passing of George Muirhead, the city's longtime Director of Planning, who passed away on Thursday, January 11th, 2018. As Kingston's first professional city planner, George had a profound impact on Kingston's heritage and for crafting much of the blueprint for Kingston's downtown as we know it today. Our thoughts are with Muirhead family during this difficult time. So we will call the vote, please. And that carries. We have no deferred motions, so we will move on to reports. First, report number 13 from the CAO, please.
Moved by Councillor Osanek, seconded by Councillor Hutchison, that report number 13 from the Chief Administrative Officer, consent, be received and adopted.
So there are 5 clauses. Would anyone like any of those clauses separated? Councillor Stroud?
One, please.
Number 1. Councillor Osanek?
Clause 4.
Clause 4. Okay, so we have separated Clause 1 and Clause 4, so first we will vote on the remaining clauses. So Clause 2 is award of contract consulting services for Grass Creek Park washroom and change room building. Clause 3, award of contract landscape architectural design services for upgrades to Waterfront Trail. And Clause 5, 2018 interim tax levy. Please vote. And that carries. Clause 1, 2020 Brier Canadian Men's Curling Championship Partnership. Councillor Stroud.
Thank you. I just have a question for staff. I think if I'm reading this correctly, I know the answer, but I'd just like to ask it on behalf of residents and taxpayers of Kingston. It says 100,000 in-kind contribution and a further 100,000 cash contribution for a total of 200,000 should the city be selected as a successful host. What would happen if, God forbid, we lose the bid to become the host?
Mr. Falwell.
Through your worship, the amount that we're requesting and asking would not be included in a future capital budget. So we know that the timeline that's before us would be, we would have that opportunity when our 2020 budget is presented to the council at that time. So we would just not include it.
So essentially you need direction from council at this point to pledge the money, but it wouldn't be included in the budget unless the bid were successful. And if not, no change. Thank you. That's it.
Thank you. Is there anybody else that wishes to speak? Deputy Mayor Bohm, will you take the chair for a moment?
Yes, Your Worship, and I recognize you.
Thank you. I think all I want to say here is that a $200,000 contribution, I think, is a tremendous investment when we think about the $11 to $15 million that this event will bring to our community, the hundreds of thousands of spectators, the enormous amount of free advertising that will come from broadcasting. And for those of you that were here for the 2013 Scotties Tournament of Hearts, it was an absolutely incredible success. And we got that feedback from athletes, coaches, volunteers, spectators, everyone. So I think that that legacy that we have is a very, very strong asset for us moving forward. And so I'm certainly looking forward to welcoming the 2020 Brier here to Kingston. Thanks very much.
Thank you, and I return the chair.
Thank you. So we will call the vote on Clause 1, please. And that carries. Clause 4, cost-sharing agreement with the Ministry of Transportation Ontario for sidewalk on Bath Road, Highway 33. Councillor Osanik.
Thank you, Your Worship. I just want to thank staff for coming to this cost-sharing agreement. Right now, there is no sidewalk along this stretch. There's also no street lights, and the side of the road's very narrow with a really steep ditch, so pedestrians have to walk along the side of the road, which especially at nighttime with no street lights is pretty dangerous. So with this, they get a sidewalk that keeps them off the side of the road. And what's prevented this project from going forward in the past is the price tag of $500,000. It's just made it cost prohibitive. So with this cost sharing agreement, now it's more affordable. And thank you, staff, for working with the province to make this happen. Thank you.
Thank you. So we will call the vote on Clause 4, please. And that carries. On to report number 14 from the CAO.
Moved by Councillor Osterhoff, seconded by Councillor Schell, that report number 14 from the Chief Administrative Officer recommend be received and adopted clause by clause.
Okay, the first clause is a new citywide zoning bylaw additional scope of work for Redendale. Councillor Turner.
Thank you, Mayor. And through you, I would like to speak to this motion briefly. I'd like to say that I'm very pleased that the staff was able to bring this through so quickly. And I'd like to say that the people in my community are very happy with the scope of work and that it should address all the issues that are included. Also, the public engagement section of this is very satisfactory, and I'm very pleased that we're going forward with this, and I hope that my council members will vote on it. Thank you very much.
Thank you. We will call the vote on Clause 1. And that carries. Clause 2, 2017 Vacancy Rate Implications and Development Charges Rebate Program. Councillor Stroud.
Thank you, Your Worship. I have a question because what I'm hearing on the street is more nuanced than what's in this report, and I was wondering if the commissioner or any of staff would be able to clarify some of these comments that I'm hearing. So the number that everyone heard about, and we heard about it also last week on Wednesday when the consultant was here, the 0.7% number, which is a historic low, lowest since 1989, down almost 2% from last year, as it says right here in the report. What does this capture, but more importantly, what might not this capture? Because obviously it wouldn't be able to track, there's no survey that would be able to track the people that are living in so-called illegal housing, such as basement dwellings and secondary suites that are not to code. And I was wondering what, if any, information we have about those numbers that are not included in that rate.
Commissioner Hurdle.
Thank you, and through you, Mr. Mayor. So a couple of things. The vacancy rate, 0.7%, is for Kingston and the CMA, so the census metropolitan area. So if you look at Kingston itself, and more specifically in the downtown, you actually have a lower rate, so I just wanted to clarify that. In terms of what's captured, it's primarily the multi-residential units that we would see in the city and also outside in the area, and that's also specified in the CMHC report. So it does not obviously capture some of the units that you may have within a home, for example, where there may be a secondary unit that's not captured in that information.
So would it capture, for example, a large downtown building, say in Sydenham Ward, that's been divided into 4 or 5 flats that are rented out as apartments to different tenants?
Through Mr. Mayor, I don't know I can't remember exactly what the threshold is, but in terms of, I can tell you that if there is one or a couple of apartments that would not be captured, if it's a building that may have 10, 12 apartments, that is more likely in terms of being considered multi-residential.
Okay, so I guess what I'm getting from that is there are tenants that are slipping through the cracks of this measure, and it's just from the way that the CMA gathers the information. Also, I'd like to point out that the census information that we have for Kingston, which is population census, is conducted in May. It's been often mentioned in the downtown areas after the students, most of the undergraduate students have finished their term and have left and are not captured by the census. You recall this was an issue a few years ago when they were talking about the electoral boundaries, and we didn't have any accurate number for student populations. And of course, we know what's driving the low vacancy rate, if there is one in Kingston. It's the abundance of post-secondary students that we have. So I just wanted to point out to council that although whatever we do to increase the vacancy rate, which I agree, as the report states, a higher vacancy rate would be preferable, I'd also like to point out that we need to find a way to better quantify the student population in this city, how many there are, where they're living, what districts they're living in, what interactions they have with the city, and so on and so on. It's a very large percentage of the population and of the actual population, and although the census numbers don't back that up, we have to agree that they're here. So I just wanted to bring that up at this point, and that's all I have to say. Thank you.
Commissioner Hurdle.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'd just like to bring a clarification, actually, and I'm sorry, Councillor Surratt, I couldn't find the reference in the report. There's a lot of information in there, but on page 4 of 13 at the top, it does refer to data presented in the 2017 rental market report, refers to the primary rental market, which is considered to be a structure that contains at least 3 rental units. So anything that would have less than that would not have been captured.
Yes, so a house that's been converted into apartments isn't an apartment, so that doesn't capture that. Is that correct?
Commissioner Hurdle.
Through you, Mr. Mayor, that I would have to say is probably correct because they would probably refer to as the secondary rental market, which are the rental dwellings that were not originally built to be rental dwellings.
Okay, so let's just say that those of us that represent downtown districts, there will be, in some areas, the majority of the rental accommodations are in that category and therefore not captured. Anyway, I'm not trying to muddy the waters. I'm just pointing out that that this is a partial picture, and regardless, we need to do something about it. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Hutchison.
Question to staff. When you look at this and you see the low vacancy rate and the rising rents, it's striking that especially the units that are pending at the OMB or pending to come on stream at some point, their rates of rents, their rents are going to be much higher than even the average of rent. So I'm wondering, the current federal government has been talking about aiding affordable rental and not-for-profit housing enterprises. And I'm wondering if the staff have heard anything about that and whether we can expect to be able to do something for the middle-income person and the low-income person, for that matter, in Kingston, because they're being priced out of the market, according to this information. And I did read the report, not just this report, but the CMHC report as well.
Commissioner Hurdle.
Thank you, and through you, Mr. Mayor. I'm not quite sure which federal program that Councillor Hutchison might be referring to in terms of I guess that be related to rents. We do know that obviously there's an interest and there has been some commitment to invest in affordable housing. And I think in the report, what we have provided to council is actually a recommendation that's related to a program that the province has proposed and rolled out as it relates to some development charges rebate that could be potentially apply to affordable housing and potentially to other units. And that's something that we will actually have to bring information back to council in terms of the expression of interest. And we're going to have to recommend how that particular program could be implemented locally.
Thank you for that. And I think I was hoping you had heard about the program, because some kind of programmatic initiative by the federal government, because I agree, I haven't heard about it either, but I do know they've been making lots of noises about it, but they actually haven't come up with anything. And so I take it from your response that you perforce have to agree. So I'm just saying that I was hoping that staff sometimes, are on the edge of these things, and they're always in touch with the federal government.
So perhaps I could respond to that question.
Sure.
My understanding is that what you're referring to were some comments that were made when the federal government announced its national housing strategy, but those are very high-level comments speaking to that, but I don't believe that there's any details that have been released at this point.
Right, there have been other little bits and snippets, but as I said, sometimes staff is better informed than even the media. So it's too bad. There ought to be a program. I'll leave it at that.
I just have one question for staff. So the recommendation speaks about a direction to staff to review options to ensure that developments that have already been approved can move to construction as quickly as possible. I'm just wondering if staff have any indication about what those options might be, or do we know of any options in other municipalities that we might be able to look at with that? Commissioner Hurdle?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor. So we do not know yet what these options might be, but this is something that we feel we should be reviewing and of course, obtaining some legal advice on what might be possible. As noted in the report, we do have a number of approved multi-residential buildings that basically have gone through all the planning approvals and could obtain a building permit and start construction, and at this point are not doing that. So we need to get a better understanding of why that's happening and also look at options on how maybe we can help to accelerate that process.
Okay, thank you. Seeing no other questions or comments, we will call the vote on Clause 2, please. And that carries. Report number 15 from the Municipal Accessibility Advisory Committee.
Yes, it's my pleasure to submit report number 15 from the Municipal Accessibility Advisory Committee. Thank you.
Moved by Councillor Neal, seconded by Councillor Holland, that report number 15 from the Municipal Accessibility Advisory Committee be received and adopted.
So there are two clauses. Clause 1 is appointment of members to the Built Environment Working Group, and Clause 2, appointments of members to the Awareness and Education Working Group. So we will call the vote, please. And that carries. Report number 16 from the Nominations Advisory Committee.
Thank you, Your Worship. I'm happy to present report number 16 from the Nominations Advisory Committee, moved by myself and seconded by Councillor Holland for consideration by Council.
Moved by Councillor Hutchison, seconded by Councillor Holland, that report number 16 from the Nominations Advisory Committee be received and adopted.
Okay, so there are a number of appointments here. First, under number 1, recommendations regarding public appointments to boards and working groups. Part 1, that the following appointments be made to the Central Kingston Growth and Infill Strategy Community Working Group for term ending November 30th, 2018. Gavin Anderson, Don Campbell, Matt Gervin, David Gordon, John Grenville, Meredith McDonald. Number 2, that Don Eldridge be appointed to the Kingston Economic Development Corporation Board of Directors for a 1-year term expiring December 31st, 2018. Number 3, that the following appointments be made to the Kingston Municipal Nonprofit Housing Corporation, Townhomes Kingston Board of Directors. Number 1, Catherine Gibson for a 2-year term expiring November 30th, 2019. John Pike for a 3-year term expiring November 30th, 2020. Warren Shell for a 2-year term expiring November 30th, 2019. Robert J. Trentadue for a 2-year term expiring November 30th, 2019. Number 4, that the following appointments be made to the Planning Advisory Working Group for a term ending November 30th, 2018. Joseph Abreu, representing the rural area, Michael O'Connor, representing the Kingston West urban area, Ann Clifford, representing the Kingston Central urban area, Peter Burpee, representing the Kingston East urban area, Laurel Claus Johnson, representing the First Peoples, Tony Goetsis, representing the institutional community, Carrie Bidness, representing the Kingston Economic Development Corporation, and Paul Martin, representing the business community. Then number 2, affirmation of technical representative appointments, that Tony Goetsis from Queen's University, Stefano Hollins, Student Government of Queen's University, and Rick Anderson from St. Lawrence College be appointed as the technical representatives to the Central Kingston Growth and Infill Strategy Community Working Group. So we will call the vote on all of those appointments, please. And that carries. We have nothing under Committee of the Whole. We have one information report, tender and contract awards subject to the established criteria for delegation of authority for the month of November 2017. We have no information reports to members of council. Miscellaneous business, we have one motion that as requested by Captain Scott Oikel of the Royal Military College of Canada, Council approve the raising of the Royal Military College flag on February 1st, 2018 at the Princess and Division Street intersection for the Carr-Harris Cup. Can I have a mover, please? Moved by Councillor George, seconded by Councillor Osanek. Please vote. And that carries. We have no new motions. Are there any notices of motion? Mr. Clerk, I'll ask for minutes, please.
Moved by Councillor Stroud, seconded by Councillor Candon, that the minutes of City Council meeting number 2018-03 held Tuesday, January 9th, 2018 be confirmed.
Please vote. And that carries. We have some tabling of documents and number of communications. Is there any other business? Mr. Clerk, I'll ask for bylaws, please.
Moved by Councillor Candon, seconded by Councillor McLaren, that bylaws 2 through 6 be given their first and second reading.
Please vote. And that carries.
Moved by Councillor Candon, seconded by Councillor McLaren, that Clause 11.34 of Bylaw Number 2010-1 be suspended for the purpose of giving Bylaw 2 3 readings.
Please vote. And that carries by a vote of 12 to 1. I'm just reading it off the screen, Councillor Candon.
I can recall the vote. Okay. Moved by Councillor Candon, seconded by Councillor McLaren, that bylaws 1 through 6 be given their third reading.
Please vote.
One more to vote, please.
And that carries. Motion to adjourn, please. Moved by Deputy Mayor Bohm, seconded by Councillor Hutchison. Please vote. And we're adjourned. Thank you very much.